What's up, everybody? It's your boy Wes Grant. You're watching Sub Urban Nerd. This channel I give my nerd views on today's nerd news. Now, I know I've already done this before, but this is my spoiler review of Endgame. Because in my last review, I had to hold back so much. Alright, I'm gonna just break it down to you guys, right? I have watched everything that's MCU related. I've watched from the first Iron Man, which started this MCU, kind of. Because if you guys don't really know, The Incredible Hulk was the first movie that's in the MCU. The Edward Norton is continuity, so it's technically the first MCU movie. But Iron Man is the one that started it. Iron Man's the one that got everything going, that got it all on track. Marvel Studios knocked it out the park with Iron Man, and from there they've just been killing it and killing it and killing it. So I've seen the first Iron Man. I've seen Thor. I've seen Captain America. I've seen the second Iron Man, which wasn't that good. I've seen all these movies, including all the seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., including all the Netflix shows, all the 12 seasons all put together. Even though they really kind of just refer to the MCU, but you know, they're still kind of technically in there. I've seen everything that has to do with the MCU. So when I say I'm invested, I'm fucking invested. So I'm just letting you guys know right now. That's how much I was into this, right? So that's why it was so emotional. It's so emotional to see something that kids, like I said, they grew up. Like if they were 5 years old, they're 15 now watching this thing. Well, actually, they're 16 now because it's 11 years watching this thing going. They're like, if they're 10, then they're 21. You know, grown ass people in college seeing this. You know, this is like what Star Wars was to people back then. This is our Star Wars. And with the space opera, like, really, look at this. This is what it is. So I'm gonna start off like this, right? The Endgame beginning. We all knew what was gonna happen. We all knew it, right? When we saw Ronan or Hawkeye looking all grim, pulling over the hood, we knew what had to have happened for him to be at that level, right? And it starts off very somber. It shows Clint with his family, showing his daughter how to shoot the bow. He was like, you know, he calls her nickname Hawkeye, you know what I'm saying? And like, and then it's even funny, mayonnaise or mustard. And then he's like, the daughter's like, who eats mayonnaise on a hot dog? He asks the little boy, mayonnaise or mustard? The little boy's like, how about ketchup? Which I'm like, everyone's wondering why aren't you giving that as an option? But then he's like, all right, just go get your bow after she shoots and hits bullseye. And then, like, you know, he tells the wife, okay, I'm just, yeah, we'll be over there in a moment. He turns around and his daughter, and I'm telling you, like, because I saw 2 showings. I saw it on Thursday and I saw it on Saturday. Thursday was the showing for true fans because the emotion, you could hear it. And Saturday, it was okay because that's like whatever people try and go. But the Thursday, the people that went to see it the day it came out, that's where you saw the real emotion because these people was like, you heard everyone gasp when the daughter was just gone and he didn't know what happened. And then he turns to his family and he just sees this dust particles. He has no idea what's happening because you know what? He's in his farm. He's away from civilization. He's just trying to enjoy life with his family. And yet it happened to him too. And he had no idea. And then it just, and it just, the MCU music, and it just starts, it's so slow and just, oh my God. And then it goes to this Tony, no, not even Tony. It goes to what's it called? Captain America, and he's in this thing with these people trying to like, you know, survive because this is like I guess a couple weeks after, something like that. It's very soon after. So Captain America is in a support group, and I think Joe Russo was the one that was the gay guy that was talking. He talked about he's just going back on a date, and then he was like, yeah, you know. Once they ordered a salad, he started to cry, and he was like, and how are you? I cried right before dessert, you know? Because they're trying to show that moment that Captain America, even when he's not fighting out there against people, he's still there for the people. He's still there just to bring hope to people. And that's what that moment was. People, a lot of people saying they don't really like this because it wasn't like Infinity War, because it was so slow. The first hour and a half, yes, it was slow, but it was a build-up. It was character building. It was something to show you what these people are, to show you who they are. It wasn't just because anybody could just throw some action at you. And granted, when I first watched it, yes, I was like, okay, this is a little slow, and I keep hearing that. But you gotta pay attention because there was so many things, so many little details, so many little words. The dialogue is what you really pay attention to, because there was so many gems that people said during these moments. And sure, there was some that showed in the trailers, like Captain America was like, we've got to win, because I don't know what I'll do if we don't, you know? But, so, that moment was that's what that was for. Then you have Tony Stark with Nebula. Tony Stark with Nebula out in space. And I tell you right now, we called it. A lot of people called it. I called it. I knew she was gonna show up to him like an angel because her powers is glowing. What other thing could that be? Could they do? Because granted, it is definitely like a ex machina for her to show up in the middle of nowhere in space and find Tony. But you gotta think that Tony probably put out a beacon. He probably put out a beacon to attract, like, for help. You know, and who knows? Maybe she was going on her way. Maybe her wristing makes her find like beacons of hope. Because remember, she's out in space trying to help different planets, different people. So you figure she's got to have something that whenever there's a beacon of help, that she goes and finds them. But then again, there's got to be like thousands of planets, like she said, asking for help. So how she finds them, still don't know. It's pretty much ex machina. But she shows up in that. But the moment before that, you see her, like Tony and Nebula playing football, you know, paper footballs, and showing her what it means to actually have friends, what it means to actually have fun. Even though in this moment where there's nothing that's there for them, and it's very bleak, they try and find a moment of happiness. And it shows the growth of Nebula, because Nebula, throughout all these movies, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, she's just been that thing, but except it was in the second Guardians of the Galaxy where she made a bond with her sister, and she actually came to be someone. And then, you know, in Infinity War as well. So it was just so sweet to see, because especially when Tony said his last words to Pepper in his helmet, and then he just laid down to sleep, and she helped him up and rested him in the chair. And then that's when you see Captain America show up. And then you've got Captain America. Well, not actually. You see, you've got Black Widow. Black Widow, she's pretty much in charge of everyone. You know, you've got everyone on holograms. So, and it's like, no. Yeah, everyone's on a hologram, I believe. And she's talking to everyone. And Rhodey's like, yo, Clint, I mean, the people are still killing. And then she's by herself, and she's crying because she doesn't know what to do. And then Captain America shows up. He was like, I saw some blue whales on my way in a harbor. And she was like, I swear to God, if you say, look on the bright side, I'm throwing a sandwich at you. And, you know, it's like, that's where you see that they're still friends, you know? Captain is still there. He's still Mr. Positive, you know? And then all of a sudden, you hear this rumble. Oh, actually, I'm jumping around. My bad. I'm I'm mixing this up. You see this rumble. Because, like, I'm jumping ahead, because they were already just in the base or whatever. Because, mind you, this is only 3 weeks later, so there was no hologram. They're still, like, there's no formulation of anything. So, you see Captain Marvel rolling through with the ship on her back with Tony and Nebula. And then that's when they come out, you know, they got Tony, and they come to this moment, and they, like, when they're all together, and Tony's in his chair, like, he's so skinny, and Captain America's like, you know, like, yo, is there anything, any clues, anything? He was like, no, there's no clues, zip, nada. He was like, yo, you said you would be there for me. You said we'd lose together. You lied. And then he just ripped off his arc reactor and had him, you take this and go. And then that's when he collapsed, because I guess the arc reactor was what actually was keeping him staying healthy. That's what kept him going so long, you know. You know, magic Tony Stark, you know, technology. Anyways, so he pretty much says he's out of it. He goes. They're just stuck there. But then Captain Marvel's like, okay, alright, I'll see you guys later. And they're like, yo, where you going? She was like, yo, I'm going to kill Thanos. And they're like, whoa, I know your thing, but we're all part of this, you know, this thing here. Like, we're all superheroes. We're all about the superhero life. He's like, yeah. He was like, yeah, we all took him on before. But she was like, but you didn't have me. Because, yo, she's super cocky. And, like, you're thinking, because after watching Infinity War, where you see this guy, Thor, taking a goddamn star to the back to make this hammer, you're like, yo, there is nobody on his level but Captain Marvel. So, when they go there, they go, like, because Rocket's like, Nebula says she knows where it is, because after, you know, she was getting disassembled, he always talked about the garden. Rocket's like, yo, when a couple weeks ago, when he snapped his finger, this energy pulse, like, bigger than anything we've ever seen. It happened again 2 days ago. And then they go to the planet. Captain Marvel's like, yo, there's no ships, no nothing, it's just Thanos. And Thanos is like, he's all limping. And we're like, what the hell happened to him? And they roll through there, and they go, and they bust through the door, or bust through the wall, knock the hell out of him. Captain Marvel's got him in a chokehold. He tries to get the move his arm. You got the Iron Man suit, which I think probably like Rhodey or whatever. Oh no, Hulk. Because Banner doesn't turn into Hulk anymore. So that was Banner in that suit, the Hulkbuster suit, holding his arm, and then Thor rolls through, and it just straight up chops off the arm, and then they all rolled in, and then Rocket flips up over the gauntlet. We're like, yo, what just happened? Where's the stones? He was like, I used the stones to destroy the stones, and it almost cost me my life. And they were like, holy shit. And then that's when everyone was like, what do we do? What do we do? And he was like, you're lying. And then Nebula's like, my father's many things, but he's not a liar. He was like, daughter, I may have been too harsh. And whoop! Just chopped off the head by Thor. And he was like, what did you do? He was like, I went for the head. And like, yo, because call back to the first Infinity movie when he threw the axe and it hit him, and then he still made the snap, and he was like, should have gone for the head. So this time he definitely did. So it jumps until 5 years later. And that's when it was like, yo, are you serious? Did they really just do this? Because everyone thought there was probably going to be some time, and people had speculations, but they really did it. So, and then, now, you've got Black Widow that's in charge of, you know, the whatever shield or whatever that is. And people just trying to live life, you know? Like, Captain Marvel's away, and she was like, yo, there's thousands of planets. And Rocket's like, yo, so what do you do? He's like, yo, there's thousands of planets that went through the same thing this planet went through. Yeah, they're gonna need some help. And I love the moment where, like, when they were like, Rhodey was like asking, where were you? He was like, well, there's thousands of planets out there that don't have you guys. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you got a point. So Captain Marvel was putting people in their place. She was putting them in check. You know what I'm saying? Because it's true. Like, and it makes sense why she wasn't there. Like, the world had Avengers. No one, like, she's off there helping other planets. Planets. Not just one. Planets. So, this thing goes in and Scott Lang, and I'm telling you right now, it jumps to Scott Lang inside that Jeep. When I saw that rat, I was like, are you serious? And there was a little kid that was next to me with his father, was like, are you serious? Is a rat really gonna let him out? This is what this little kid said. So of course, we were thinking, grown-ass people. And so then, I'm like, yo, this gotta be some sentient rat, like Splinter. Because when you see what they had to go through and put buttons they had to push in order to activate this truck before, and now this rat just steps on a button and it activates this, Ex Machina up the ass. But I accept it. Scott Lang gets out. He's like, what's going on? He shows his son help. He goes out, and this little kid's riding by on a bike. He's like, yo, what happened? Because the world looks messed up, trash all over the place. And he runs to this Display Memorial where he has those things, and he's looking for the name of his daughter, Cassidy. So he's looking, like, yo, where? And then he sees his name, Scott Lang, and he doesn't see her name. So he was like, she's got to be alive. So he rushes home. He gets to the house, and there she is, a freaking teenager. And then that's when he has a moment. He's like, you're so tall. And yo, that's one of those moments. This movie has so many of these moments that are just so touching as far as family moments. And like, you know, that's gonna be stature. You know, that's his daughter, stature. She's gonna be able to have the same power as him with the suit. But anyways, so he goes to the thing. That's when the sandwich part happens with Captain America and Black Widow, and he's basically talking to her, and then that's when you see Scott Lang at the front, and then he's like, oh, when was this? Where is this? And she's like, at the front door. And mind you, like, I know you guys are checking out my whole Captain Marvel right there, you know, just a little bit, but Anyways, that's when he rolls in and he's talking. He was like, yo, I was thinking, but going back in time and then going because, but the what? I'm gonna tell you right now. This is one flaw. In the first in the second one, in Ant-Man and Wasp, when the wife, the mother, came back, she was older, so time passed regularly for her. But Scott Lang says he had only been in there for 5 minutes. But yet, it was been 5 years later. So, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, like, because they said when you go in, it's different. That's how they try to explain it. That when you go in there, it's random. You can either go in there, time and space is completely different, but it's inconsistent. It's this way, that way, this way. Up is down, down is up. You can grow old, you can grow small, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'm like, oh, that was my first thing. I'm like, it's been 5 years, so shouldn't the 5 years gone through for him? But now he's saying it's only 5 minutes that went for him, but whatever. So he comes up with a plan. He's basically talking about some Back to the Future shit. So they were like, yo, and then like even Rhodey was like he's talking to her. He's talking to Steve Rogers. He was like, yo, I know it's crazy. It's crazy. She was like, yo, I get emails from a raccoon. Crazy it doesn't even nothing anymore. So that's when they go and contact Tony. But this time Tony has a kid. Tony has a daughter. You know? What's her name? Maggie or something like that? So he goes and he's like, and they go and like, yo, we need to stop this. We need to save all these people. We need to bring them back. And Tony's like, yo, I don't know. You know what? I've got too much. I'm not losing this, you know? And they're like, okay. And he lets him go. But except he's like, it was good to see you, but anything but that. I wish you guys came here for anything but that. So they leave. And it's funny because this moment where the daughter comes in, she was like, mommy told me to come save you. So it's like, perfect moment, because he was like, he sort of wanted to help, but he didn't want to help because he had too much to lose. So then the daughter came in to show them why he couldn't do that, and Tony and Steve understood. So then they go off on their own, and they were like, yo, where else can we go? There has to be someone with a big brain. He was like, a bigger brain than his, and that's when we got to see Professor Hulk. Professor Hulk, if you guys don't know, Professor Hulk is a combination of, as you can see from the movie, Bruce Banner and the Hulk, where they merge together and Banner's in control of Hulk's body. Now, if you guys don't know, the Green Hulk is called the Savage Hulk. You've got the Gray Hulk, which they called Mr. Joe Fix-It, but all these things put together, it's, you know, and people thought the Red Hulk. No, the Red Hulk isn't the Hulk. The Red Hulk is General Russell. The Red Hulk is not Banner. Let's just say that the Red Hulk is not Banner. So this. They go to him and he's got shirts, sweaters. He's like, I know, I'm wearing shirts. Weird, right? And little kids coming through. He's like, oh, you mind taking a picture? He gives it to Scott Lang, and he takes a picture. And he was like, and then Scott Lang's like, oh, you want me to take a picture of me too? I'm Ant-Man. I mean, dog, you're sitting next to Captain freaking America, and you think if they didn't want a picture with Captain America, you think they want with Ant-Man? So then Bruce or Banner's like, yo, yeah, sure, get pictures. He's like, no. He was like, I can see he's mouthing the words, I don't want to. No, just take the fucking. It's like, yo, he hands the camera back to him, and then they come in, they kind of figure it out, and then he was like, I don't know if there's any way to figure this out, and he was like, yes, there is a way. We got it. We just got it. So and then they go back and they start doing these tests. No, did they start doing the test? No, they don't start doing the test yet. Yes, they do. Yes, they do start doing a test, and that's when you've got Scott Lang. He's going back. He comes back as a little kid, and he goes back, comes back as an older person. He goes back, comes back as a baby, and then he goes back, and he's like, and I'm telling you, the Hulk is funny through this because it's like, she was like, oh, you know what you do? He was like, I have no idea. This has never been done before, but they stopped. And while they're doing this, Tony is at home, and I guess he's trying to figure out, and I'm trying to figure out if he started working on this right as soon as they left, or I think he might have been working on this for a long time. That people think that the Ex Machina, but I think he probably was working on time travel for a long time, trying to figure this out. And when Scott Lang came through, and they talked about the Pym particles and the quantum realm, that's when he kind of put it together. I wish they had shown a little bit more for it could be more explained, but that's when he put it together, and that's when you had them figure out how to. That's when he made sense, and then he talks to Pepper, and there's one of these moments where he talks to her. He's like, "Yo, I figured it out," and he was like, "I want to just, you know what? If you just tell me, I'll put it in a box, close it down, and I go, and I'm done, and then I'll go to sleep." And then she says, "Yes, will you be able to rest? And that's one of those moments. This is the dialogue I'm talking about, people, that where you don't realize how much of this man, that this the dialogue that the Russo brothers, whoever wrote this, the dialogue is so like just on point. So he decides yes. So that's when he drives through, shows up to Captain America, has that moment where he's like, you know, he doesn't want to fester on these moments and like eat him up inside. So he gives him back the shield. He's like, I figured it out. And he's like, thank you. But he was like, I don't know if I can. He was like, you better. You know, this was made for you. And he gives Captain America his shield back. He gives him the new technology. The first thing he said was, did he turn into a baby? He was like, yeah. It was like, I wish there was someone that warned you about this. It was like, you did. But yeah, still with that cockiness. But you can tell that they're back together. They give that handshake. And you're like, yes, they're back together. At Captain America and Iron Man. Bam! So they go. They figure it out. They all come, Nebula and all them. They come up with a plan. And this is why it's smart like that. They didn't have Captain Marvel come back because you know what? She's too OP. And they're going back. They're going to do these they basically call it time heist, time jump. So they go. And what they do is they pick specific times. And it's funny because they figured out that at one point there was 3 stones in New York. You know, there's a Tesseract, there's the Cosmic Cube, and there's a Time Stone, which was being by the Ancient One. So they go, they get their things, they split up, and then they go back in time to get these things. And there was one moment where like Clint with Ronan. Yo, the scene with Ronan, before that, when Blackwood had to find Ronan was killing these people, Yakuza, run them down. I love that scene. And then when he was fighting them with the sword, I'm like, yo, this dude's bad with the sword. And then that's when Black Widow shows up after he kills him. I mean, I guess, you know, she understands. She ain't trying to stop this dude because the Yakuza's bad, so she don't really care. Morally, she's done some bad things in her life too, so, you know, she's not one to judge. So they bring him back. He tests the going back and forth quantum and sees his family, so he knows it works. So when they go back in time, that's where it was like, okay, they chose all these places. They go to New York, then they tell the Hulk to act like you know, Banner act like the Hulk, and he rips up, she's like, ah, because he sees his old self, and he just sees embarrassed, and then he goes, and he just like punches a car, and then takes a motorcycle, but he goes and goes off. They go to where the Avengers first beat Loki, and then that's when all this thing, they go, Ant-Man, and he was like, come on, man, those pants do nothing for him. And then Ant-Man's like, that's America's ass. And then, which is funny. And they go down, and Captain America, he goes down in the elevator, right? And we're all thinking we're going to see this fight scene again like he did in Winter Soldier. But he goes in there, and he's smart enough because he knows something. He was like, no, the secretary told me to take point on this. Take it. He was like, are you serious? And he leans over and says, Hail Hydra. You know? It's like, yo, word? He really pulled that, because that's just recent in the comics, the whole, you know, Hail Hydra thing. So that's, you know, this movie was so much fan service, bring back on point so many comic books. It was just like so crazy. And when he does this, it's like, damn, like he goes and they let him go. But then he sees himself, and that's the point where like Loki kind of gets away because Banner had to go down the stairs, and then Tony gets a Tesseract, but except he gets knocked out by Hulk busted through the door saying he hates stairs. And then that's when Captain America sees Captain America, and he was like, I found Loki. And they go fight. Oh man, he goes and fights him. Boom, boom, boom. He gets knocked down. And old Captain America's like, I could do this all day. And new Captain America's like, I know. It's like, yo, it's like he's even tired of that line. And then they go fight and busting, and then he gets kind of caught up in a chokehold by the old Captain America. And that's when he says, Bucky's alive. He lets go, knocks him out, erases his mind, and then he goes. Meanwhile, Bruce Banner, he goes and he's talking to the Ancient One, and the Ancient One's like, yo, no, I'm sorry, can't give you this time stone. And then like, cause he knocked the Hulk out, and you know, Bruce Banner was floating and he's talking, and then that's when she's talking about this whole time stream. Is he's basically breaking it down like, if you take these stones, if you change something in the past, then this will change our future. It won't change your future, but except our future is going to be screwed. And then he was like, yes, but if we take the stone and then put it back to where we take it from, exactly right after we take it, then everything's going to be fixed. Which, theoretically, makes sense. It'll fix their time frame. Now, I'm going to go back to this, right, later, but, so, she lets him take the time stone because she was like, I can't. He was like, then why did Doctor Strange give it to Thanos? He was like, wait, he gave it up? He's like, yes. He must have seen something. I'm wrong. So she gives it to him. So he gets that. They get the Mind Stone, but except they have to go back in time for the Tesseract. Why? Because it's out of their hands. Loki took it and then disappeared, which is probably going to lead into the Loki the spin-off series that's going to be on Disney Plus. So that's when you have damn, you see this thing happening. So that's when you got what's it called them going back in time to Tony to see his father and to where Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and they get some more Pym particles to go back in time. You've got them. Tony gets his moment with his father, but his father's kind of oblivious because the guy's in a secret base and he's at the suitcase and you're not even asking him no credentials, whatever. Just okay, hey, how you doing? And they have these moments where the father's asking Tony, he's like, how do you deal with the kid? And then Tony just acts. He gives him a hug. He says thank you. He's like, it's kind of weird. He's like, for America, you know. But oh, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, jumping around. But after the fight with Captain America, the funniest moment was he was like, that is America's ass. When he's like knocked out and like he just butts up in the air. But anyways, so I'm like losing my voice. Damn, this is crazy. So then you have the Guardians that went to the time where what's it called? Chris Pratt was taking the what's it called? Getting the Power Stone. And then, you know, you got Black Widow and Hawkeye going off to get the Soul Stone. And the thing that doesn't make sense is, okay, they knock out Peter Quill, right? They knock him out, Star-Lord. But then they get the stone. Nebula starts messing up with the eye. Then they what's it called? They press a button. Oh well, they were like, all right, let's go. Then you got what's it called? Rhodey, or War Machine. He goes back, you know, no problem. But she doesn't. And then she doesn't press it once she gets back up after a little headache. She goes in and she tries to warn them. I'm like, okay, sure, you're warning them about the Power Stones. But then the next thing is like, okay, she's getting pulled up. And my whole thing is, how come she doesn't just go back to the time? She stays there and lets herself get captured. Sure, it's for the plot of the movie, but that was a plot hole for me. I'm like, why didn't she just press the damn button? It makes no sense why she didn't do that. She should have just been out of there. Like, as soon as you saw issues, be out. But anyways, who says whatever happened? So that's when they go and he jumps to them, Black Widow, Hawkeye. They realize that the only way is to lose something you love. And so then they were like, they both made the choice that they're gonna do it. But then neither one wanted the other one to do it. So they start fighting. Black Widow shocks him. She starts running to the edge. Hawkeye shoots an arrow, blows her up, knocks her off to the side. She goes, and then it goes, she goes to, what's it called? He starts running off. She jumps off. She tackles him, grapples him, shoots to the wall, and then she kind of pretty much sacrifices herself and jumps off and lands and hits the floor. And this time she's dead. You know what I'm saying? Because with Gamora, she's super stronger than regular humans. So I'm like, shouldn't she maybe have survived that? Because she's walking with like a rocket, like a gun on her side, but she's more durable than regular people. But somehow that fall killed her. But Black Widow's human, so I understood. You could actually see the blood. If you look closer, you can see the blood. You know? So she was gone, and then he gets the Soul Stone, and then he goes back in time, and then Nebula gets brought, and then they find out what happened. He finds out that he's inevitable. He finds out he gets the stone. So then the old Nebula takes, I guess, the serum, gives it to I don't know how this worked, because they need Pym particles to come back. So unless she gave him some Pym particles and then somehow made it back in time, like to pretend like she was an old Nebula, and they go and they get the gauntlet together. Then that's when you got the Hulk decides that he's the only one that's strong enough to take this. So he goes, he gets it, and then he's feeling it, and they're going through his arm, it's tearing up his arm, it's breaking it up, and then he goes, and then he snaps and brings everybody back. Because when Tony came back, his one thing was he wants to bring back everybody, and he wants to gain what they've lost, but keep what he had. That's what he wants. He doesn't want to lose, because he has a daughter now. He doesn't want to lose it. So Banner snaps. Everything's, people, like, you don't know, but he does it. But then that's when Nebula lets Thanos come through with the big ass ship, and then they start shooting rockets. And I don't know how Scott Lang survived that. The explosion was in his face, but I guess that his suit's automatic. Bam, he shrink. Like, I guess it senses danger, like a spider sense or ant sense. So and then he got shrunk so it wouldn't take the impact. The whole building comes down. There's stuff. That's when Thanos starts shooting his little grunts to go after them. Nebula goes to go get the thing, and that's where you see Hawkeye running, shooting these arrows. And when he's going up that grapple, and then he's like slicing these dudes up, I'm like, yo, this dude is fire. Like, yo, when I tell you, everyone got their moment in this movie. Everyone got their moment in this movie. It's like, yo, Hawkeye, you thought he was okay. Everyone was like, yo, he's nobody. He was the shit in this movie. I'm telling you, he was slicing up everything. So they go down, and they go, and they come out, and then they come, and Thanos tells Nebula to go find the thing, you know. But what she was like, what you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna just wait. And he's sitting there waiting. And then that's you got Iron Man, you got Thor, you got Captain America looking like, yo, what are you doing out there? He's just sitting there. So then that's when Thor called, and I probably skipped off the fact that we saw Fat Thor. Fat Thor, the Hulk, when they went to go bring him in, it was one of those moments. Like, but so he's big in this, and that was a running joke, a running gag in this, because there was a moment where he had to go and get his hammer or whatever. But I'll talk about it later. This moment is what I really want to talk about. When Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man go at Thanos. And this was just, it was so amazing. It was so amazing. They go and fight him. But Thanos is still on point, especially with his new weapon. He's taking him down. He's taking him out. In fact, like, Thor has his two hammers. He's got Mjolnir and he's got Stormbreaker. And the funny thing is, when he calls them both, his beard gets braided and his hair gets put in a style. I'm like, is that the power of lightning? Did he have lightning braid his beard? Because I was dying about that. But anyways, they go and fight him, and it comes to a point where they're all getting knocked. They're all getting knocked around. And then that's when Mjolnir is floating up, and then you think it's getting called to the door, and it flies right past them, and boom! Right to Captain America. And everyone went wild. I lost my mind. And he go, yo, Captain America's better with the hammer than Thor. And he's like, whap, 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 bing, boom. Just throwing his shield, just ricocheting it. He takes him down. He throws up lightning under the ground, and then he calls down lightning from the sky, hits Thanos. Yo, it's on point. But then Thanos is like, nope. And then he just starts whipping their ass again. And then that's when he calls for his backup. Calls for backup, and his army rolls through. And then Tony, Captain America, they're down. And Tony, Thor, they're down. Captain America, he lands up. So it's Captain America at this beautiful scene, standing on the edge, looking towards the army. And then that's when you hear a callback from Winter Soldier. To your left, and he looks. You see the circle open, and then that's when you see the Black Panther and all them and the girls. And you're like, oh yeah. And then that's when you see Falcon just fly through. Then you see all these other circles. You've got the whole Wakanda army, M'Baku. You've got all the I'm not gonna say wizards, because that's what Tony was calling them. You know, magicians, whatever. But the protectors, all with their magic, opening these portals, and that's when you have this war battle. And then that's when Captain America calls the Mjolnir to his hand. Boom! He was like, Avengers! We're all waiting for it. We've all been waiting for it for goddamn how many fucking years since the first Avengers. He says, assemble! Oh my god. It was this moment. There's very few moments that we've seen a fight or war like this. Yes. In our generation, we've got Lord of the Rings or something like that. Like, this is on the level of, say, Ben-Hur or like Ten Commandments. Like, back in the day when they used to get like hundreds of people, like cast hundreds of people in order to just play the these background, like these epic battles. And just like when we saw like in Lord of the Rings, when the two towers or the king, like it's just visual ecstasy. That's all I can say, because watching this, we could barely I don't know, like, contain ourselves. I actually started getting so touched that my eyes started tearing up. Seeing this, watching for 11 years, and this culmination for this epic battle, what we were all hoping we saw in Infinity War, but it happened in Endgame, and it was so worth it. It's hard to explain how you feel, and I know it's too completely geeky. People can't be like, oh, you really crying about this? But You ever seen something that's so beautiful that you can't help just tears coming from your eyes? It's not tears of some sadness, it's tears of joy. And I just was like, yeah, I don't, it was so amazing. And it didn't stop there. It just got better, because after the fight happened and he called Avengers Assemble, everybody went towards Thanos' army. Thanos went towards them. Everyone started wrecking house. Everybody had their moment. Everybody had their moment. When you saw the Guardians of the Galaxy, you saw Captain, how to say, like, sorry, I'm just crazy with my mind. Like, you got Doctor Strange and all of them. Everybody is going to fight, going into battle. This battle's so epic. And then one of the best moments was when you had the A-Force. Oh, you had, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm sorry. They were fighting. Everyone's going against Thanos. But then Scarlet shows her power, and she's like, "You took everything from me!" And one of the best lines was Thanos saying, "I don't even know you." And she just went, "You will." And she just wrecks house, brings down like big ass rocks on him, and then lifts him up and just starts ripping him apart with his armor. He knew he was assed out. He knew we could not beat her. So he called down the rain. And they were like, "Sir, but our men are on the field." He was like, "Call it down, damn it." And that's when you just see lasers, everything shooting straight down. Everybody wrecking. She tries to block it. You got the wizards putting up their shield. Everyone's getting hit. Everyone's getting taken out. And I was like, damn, are you serious? Are you serious? And then like everyone, it all seemed, because when it all seemed like it was done, because they were going after the gauntlet. Because once Thanos saw the gauntlet being run and towards the machine, he was just like, yo, I gotta stop them. And that's the moment where this chick shined, because those lasers stopped shooting at the ground and aimed up and started shooting in the sky. And everyone's like, yo, what are they shooting at? What are they shooting at? And I knew it. As soon as they were shooting at the sky, I knew it. She came back, because you know what? After the snap and everyone got brought back, you know she had to be in a place where all of a sudden people started appearing. So then what do? You're like, yo, let me get back, because something happened. And especially they had to set off a beacon or something. But so she got back. Then they started shooting. She went straight through the damn ship. Boom, sort of like Stormbreaker. Couldn't stop her. Right through. Hitting her. Going through. And just wrecking the ship. Going down. She lands. She's like, hey. And then Peter's like huddled up with the gauntlet. And he's like, hey. Like, she was like, he was like, I'm Peter Parker. He was like, hey, Peter Parker, got something for me? And this is like, I liked her so much more in this movie than I liked her in Captain Marvel. In Captain Marvel, I did like her a lot, but the personality, it's just like, I just like her so much in this one. And he was like, you're gonna go through all that alone? And then that's when the A-Force, all the females in Marvel showed up and was like, she's not alone. You had the Wakanda woman, you had Scarlet Witch, you had Gamora, you had Nebula, you had all the females run straight at him and start wrecking house. You had Valkyrie on goddamn Pegasus flying and just whipping ass, taking down, oh my god, it was just, the females in this thing was so kick-ass. And they had their moment, and then they just broke through everything. Then that's when Captain Marvel started going toe-to-toe with Thanos. Wah. Just like, yo, just taking him down to the point where he tries to hit the gauntlet, and she grabs the gauntlet and starts breaking it down, and then he punches her in the head, nothing. So then he gets down to his knee, he freaking takes out one of those Power Stone, takes it, bam, knocks her down. And then that's when like he starts going, the gauntlet, puts it back in, trying to go. Oh my god, it's just crazy, because she was going through and he threw his spear or whatever that blade was, blew up the machine, so there was no chance. So that's why they were going toe to toe. He was trying to get that glove, and oh man, that's when the moment happened. That's when Tony, because before the match, like as soon as it started, he goes to Doctor Strange. Tony goes to Doctor Strange like, out of those 14 million, is this the one? And he's like, is this one where we win? And he's like, if I tell you how, it won't happen. And so I remember that, because in the end, Tony's fighting him. They're all tackling. They're all trying to get it. Thanos gets the glove. Tony looks at Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, if you look at it, he's very subtle. He goes, you know what that means? That means this is the one. And at that moment, Tony Stark knew. He contemplated because he figured out what should he do. He was like, if I snap them away, I'm gonna go on. So and then that's when he looked at Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange says, you know what you have to do. You can see it in his eyes. And that's when he goes at Thanos, boom, boom, boom. They're trading back blows. He's holding the glove, and then Thanos punches him, knocks him away. And then that's when Thanos goes, I am inevitable. Oh, sorry. I am, with the left hand, inevitable. And then that's when he realized he didn't have the stones. I thought Tony just took one, but he took all of them. And then you see the stones form into Iron Man's right hand. And then he goes, I am Iron Man. Snap! Holy shit. So amazing. Then what happens? They're dusting. All the bad guys are dusting. Everybody's dusting. Just like them right here. Thanos, he realized it. He was like, you know what? I lost. And then that's when he sits down and just fades away. And then that's this touching moment where you've got Rhodey goes up to him, goes right in front of Tony. He's like, Tony, you okay? Like, it's okay, man. It's okay. You did good. You did good. And then you got Peter. And Peter, cause like, oh my God. Peter, because it was so funny when he showed up before. So much energy. He's like, Captain, Mr. Stark. And like, you know, like, oh man, remember when I was not feeling too good, and then I just started dusting off, and then all of a sudden, I wake up, and then Doctor Strange is there, and he said, we gotta go, and then that's Tony hugged him. Tony hugged him because he missed him so much, because he had a picture in his house of him, because he was like, he saw him as like a son. So this moment when Peter saw him, the guy that he looked up to, his mentor, his father figure, this sacrifice and going away, he just started watering up. And then Pepper comes to the side, pushes him to the side. And then she was like, we're gonna be okay. We're okay. We're gonna be okay. You can rest now. And that's a callback to what she said before, when he knew that he couldn't rest. If he had the technology, if he had a way to save everyone, he just didn't. And we already know that Tony had this in him, because if you remember Avengers, the first one, he was willing to sacrifice himself. He took a rocket that was gonna blow up New York up into space, into the hole, the vortex, and then he fell down. He had no idea if he was gonna survive, but we already knew he had this, so this didn't surprise me, but it was still touching. And then they had a funeral. With everybody there. Guardians of the Galaxy, the Rhodey, like everybody. And then there was a kid that I didn't know who was in the back. If you guys don't know who that kid was, remember Iron Man 2? Remember that little kid where he was in that yard, in a garage, helping him, giving the arm thing? That's him, all grown up. I didn't know. I was trying to figure out who it was, but that's him. So, such a great ending, like such a farewell. It was just so beautiful. And then they got the stones, they gave it to Captain America, he put it in a suitcase. It was like, okay, he's gonna go. It's gonna be like 5 seconds for us. It's gonna take as long as it takes for him. And then they told him, just drop everything off, Mjolnir, everything, the stones, go back, and then just drop it off and come back. And then when they timed it, 5, 4, 3, 2, he didn't come back. But then Bucky sees someone sitting in the distance. And he sees him sitting in the distance, he's like, hey. And he calls, calls Falcon over. And then Falcon's like, yo, who? And he's like, yeah, go check. And he goes over and he sees it's an old captain. And he was like, hey. And then he had the shield with him. And then he gives the shield. He's like, doesn't quite fit. Like, it feels like it should be on someone else. He's like, it'll fit you fine. And then that's when you got the, man. That's when that moment. And he sees the ring. He puts his hand on him. He sees like, what's that about? He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you. But we all know he went back to Peggy. Now, when I saw this movie, I gave it an A+. I've seen it twice. I'm giving it, I'm gonna give it an A. Because it's the script so good, like everything else. Even no plot holes, whatever. So, that was the amazing part. Now, like I said, there was so many touching moments between Thor and his mom, just like, Peter, like, just everybody. Now the plot holes. They did not follow their own goddamn rules. You know why? Because when the Ancient One was explaining to Bruce Banner how this worked, you got the timeline, you stream, you can't do something very like a strong impact. She was talking about, say, the gems. You can't take them away because then our future won't go the same way. Same thing. If you don't have everything go exactly the way it used to go, then there's going to be an alternate timeline. So, that being said, first off, Loki gets a Tesseract and gets away. That's one thing that changes the timeline. Then, Thanos coming to the future and then getting dusted means he never attacks New York, or he never comes to do the Infinity War. He never gets all the gems in the past to cause Infinity War. So therefore, Steve Rogers could never, he would be in an alternate timeline, because where he came from, Thanos, everyone got snapped. Then he went to the past, so him being there without a Thanos means he would be in an alternate timeline, so he wouldn't be able to wait there for them to watch him get away, because there wouldn't be no reason for him to go to the past. So how is this happening? Plot holes galore. How does Thor braid his braid and do his hair? Sure, that's just funny. I know, I'm gonna let that slide. That's just funny. But also, it's like I was trying to figure out one thing I thought about, right? When he said Gamora, when he said Nebula, their timestamp is from 9 years in the future. Now I was like, that's wrong, because 9 years back, because events like this series has only been like out 10 years. So how could it be 9 years in the past? But then I was thinking about it later, and I was like, you know what? It does make sense, because even though Guardians of the Galaxy didn't come out 9 years ago, remember, there was a 5-year time jump. So therefore, add the 5 years to the 4 years, and voila, there's the 9 years. See, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I thought about it, and it's just like, yo. But like I said, this whole time frame, like most movies, when it comes to time, it's very hard to do it correct. And though they had plot holes galore with this whole thing, they didn't follow their own goddamn rules, but you still enjoyed it. And another thing, people were wondering, hey, how come Tony did not, like, when Hulk was trying to snap his finger, when he got the glove on, his arm was burning up, and he was in so much pain, and he barely could get the snap out before he snapped. He was snapped. And people wondering, how come Tony? And I'm thinking, because the glove only went up so far, and then the energy started surging through into his live skin, into his tissue, into his arm. Tony, his glove himself, his armor was basically containing the power before it was doing its best job, so therefore it made him able to do the snap. I think that's what it was. I think that's how it made it able for him to do that, so therefore that's what it was. You know, I'm just gonna say it like that. I believe that's what it was, and that's how he was able to let's say do this, or get the snap out without being in too much pain and breaking down like the Hulk did, you know? And some will also say, okay, didn't Thanos have to have a race of like ancient people that like made hammers and weapons for the Asgardians? So didn't it need to be a special metal or something like that, like they did for Stormbreaker, in order for them to house the gems? And somehow Tony's, nanotechnology or technology was able to house this stuff? But yes, let's just say yes. Why? Because his nanotechnology is magic. For him to be able to turn a jacket into a plate of armor, just make it come out nanos, really? That's what we're going with? Nanos? It's goddamn magic technology. Because it makes no sense how these things work. How he gets stabbed by Thanos and somehow he closes up the hole with nanites? With nanites? That's how you survive, really? But okay, I'm just gonna let it go. So, of course there's plot holes, but we still love the movie, and I'm giving it an A this time. And that's pretty much it. I know this is a long ass spoiler video, but I just had to tell everything, had to say everything, had to get everything out, because I just couldn't contain it anymore. So, thank you for watching this, if you watched this whole thing, because I just went through this whole movie. And if there's anything I missed, just comment down below. Let me know, because I love watching this movie. This movie broke records. This movie made $350 million in one weekend, blowing past this record of 257. 257. 100 million more. There's no way no one thought. I barely thought it was gonna get to 300, but somehow it did it. And then it hit 1.2 billion in one weekend. A weekend. A weekend. Not a week. Weekend, 1.2 billion. This thing is going to get number 2. I don't know if it's going to get number 3 because Avatar is at $2.7 billion. I'm hoping, I am so hoping that this keeps going, because at this rate, it might do it. If it does it, it staples itself as the best and most amount of money making movie ever, I will be so happy. I will get a goddamn A tattooed on my arm. Maybe I'll just get the shield tattooed. And I'm telling you now, if you guys have not seen of course you've seen Captain America's suit. His new suit, I want it. I want it, and I want it now, because it is fire. It was this combination of everything that was so amazing about his suits as it progressed, until damn, it just was just like, you know what? I just want it. So I'm sorry, I just keep rambling on, but that's pretty much it. Remember to like this video, subscribe if you like, you know, was like what I've been talking about. Remember to watch my last you know, non-spoiler video of Endgame, and check out my playlist of movie reviews. And remember, I'm Wes Grant. You've been watching Suburban Nerd, and you've just been notified. Catch you guys on the next review.